Labor Day weekend on the Central Coast. Tons of things to do. Truth About Seafood kicking it off with concerts in the Plaza. Of course, we have Brews and Bites taking place at the same place the very next day. And something a lot of people are talking about taking place at the Black Lake Golf Resort. That's the 805 Country Music Festival. Features the likes of Barrett Baber from NBC's The Voice and local country legend J.D. Hardy, Buck Owens' son Johnny, with a tribute to his late father with the Buck Fever Band, taking place this Sunday at the Black Lake Golf Resort in Nipomo from 1 to 7 for a full day of country music, barbecue, and fun. Part of the proceeds benefit the 4-H clubs of Nipomo. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. Just search 805 Country Music Festival. In this special podcast, I thought it'd be fun to ask the son of a country music legend what he thought his dad would think about the current state of country music and if it's gotten more corporate-driven and less artist-driven. But first, we had the chance to ask J.D. Hardy why he started the 805 Country Music Festival.
We created it this year, and I run it through my corporation, HCE Productions. And the thought process behind it is, you know, guys like Johnny and I, we can get together and play and throw a party for any good reason, but the best reason is to benefit somebody locally that's in our community that we can directly affect, you know, and these are groups and organizations that, you know, benefit people that are, you know, living and breathing amongst us, and they shop where we shop, they bank where we bank, and go to church where we go to church, and hopefully they're all going to be at the same country music festival as us too.
Now,
So,
my question for you is, how are you able to pull Johnny away from Bakersfield and the Crystal Palace and get the whole Buck Fever Band over here to the Black Lake Golf Resort?
Well, let me tell you, it's not easy.
Well, I'll tell you a reason why, because he asked.
There you go.
That's really it, because, you know, I don't know if everybody's aware of it, but we just did the Buck Owens birthday bash in Bakersfield on August 12th, and we had JD over, and he did some songs with us and stuff, and I'll tell you something. You know, he said, well, you know, he's already invited me over and stuff like that, and I'm going, well, yeah. I mean, and you got to understand stuff too. You know, a lot of kids are involved in this 4-H stuff too, and it's anything for a benefit and stuff. I mean, we do a lot of charity work and stuff, but JD calls, you know, people run and stuff, and so I think we're going to have a great turnout and a lot of fun over there.
Johnny, can I ask you a question? And this is just speculative, but what do you think your dad would think of country music and the state that country music is in right now?
You know what? That's sort of a hard question, and I'll tell you why. Because if I say something wrong, then people take offense to it and everything else. But I'll tell you that you know, traditional country music fell off. It fell to the wayside. It just went away. There really wasn't too many people out there doing traditional country music. We do what they call the Bakersfield Sound, which is Buck Owens and Merle Haggard and a bunch of those type of guys and stuff. And so we keep that sort of music alive and stuff. I do a lot of my dad's songs and Merle and Johnny Paycheck and Johnny Cash and those type of songs and stuff. But, you know, it's hard to give an answer and then not get, you know, shot down by it and everything else. But, you know, we have some bands coming out right now. We have some younger people coming out with this traditional country music. We have Ben and Noel Haggard is traveling and doing the country music. We got Marty Haggard doing the country music. You have a lot of the kids from those guys. The George Jones people are doing that type of music, and so, you know, it's still out there. It's just not an abundance as a lot of what they call country music at this point. You know?
How come country radio doesn't embrace it?
Well, they're going to. I think what happens first is you have to have enough of it coming back. You have to have enough songwriters writing those type of songs. You have, you know, because they have to stay with what sells. They have to stay with what the majority of the people are actually listening to. K-Jug does a pretty good job at putting a lot of that traditional country music in it. You know, if you go to Sirius XM and stuff like that, Prime Country does it. You know, they play a lot of that older stuff.
Right.
But it's just still it's still at its new stage, if you want to call that. You know, the new old stage, if you want to call it. And it will come back.
Yep.
we don't know how strong it'll come back, but it appears that it's coming back. I mean, but that's a time thing. I mean, if something is brand new, like the Luke Bryants and the Jason Aldeans and Blake Shelton a little bit, but he's still pretty country. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you, those guys came out, and it's great music. It's just not traditional country music. And so, you just sort of got to go with it and stuff. My dad, he would say it was acid rock. He just would. My dad was a businessman, and I'll tell you something right now. We got radio stations in Phoenix. We had them anyway. We've sold them already, but we had. He got a rock and roll station. It's called KKXX. He got a country station over there. Then he figured out that if you take that rock and roll station and put another country station in there, it's just competition, and competition, breeds more competition, and it just made the KNIX country station stronger and stuff. But my dad was like George Jones and Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard and a lot of those guys, back in the late 50s and 60s and 70s and stuff. That they loved the music, they loved the stories that the music told, but they came from a different era. These guys that we're talking about now, it's their songwriting, it's the type of music, it evolved, and I believe that traditional country music will come back, but I believe that we'll have two different genres with it. You'll have the what they would consider, I guess, country rock, if you want to call it, and traditional country. I think it will come back, but it's going to take some time.
That's Johnny Owens. He's Buck Owens' son and the leader of the Buck Fever Band. They will be playing at the 805 Country Music Festival out at the Black Lake Golf Resort this upcoming Sunday, and also joined now with J.D. Hardy. And J.D., I got to ask you, I know you've been a fixture of the Central Coast for many years now. You ever chase the dream out in Nashville?
I sure did. In 2005, I was signed to Sony Nashville out of L.A., believe it or not, with a legendary producer named Ray Ruff. And however, Ray had passed away of a heart attack 2 months into my project with him. Mm-hmm. And it kind of null and voided my contract with Sony. And so we did a lot of chasing that. I think the biggest thing for me was I was trying to become something I wasn't, which was what Johnny says, what's selling on radio today, which was your modern country music. And I'm really got a lot of tradition in me as well. I come from Bakersfield. I was raised in Bakersfield, and my folks were heavy in the music scene as well as in the church music scene, and so I had a lot to pull from in my roots, Mm-hmm. So it was a little tough. But when I came back to what I know how to do and what I like to do, which is, I call my music traditional country with a modern twist, and that's the thing I believe is going to spin this thing back around to where we can, have some new country artists coming out that are playing the traditional stuff and everything goes in cycles. So, this happened in the 70s, too, with country music, where it kind of went away from the tradition. But it ended up coming back in the 80s, and first part of the 90s. But so I'm like Johnny. I'm very hopeful and confident that it's going to come back. But you can chase it all you want, but when you figure out what you do and you do that best, we're just going to have a fun time doing it. And I think that's where the best art comes from.
It's such a tough.
It does. Can I say something to that?
Sure, absolutely, Johnny.
Would you mind?
No.
Let me tell you something. JD came over, and I'll tell you who I thought was on stage with us, and it really. And I hope that he doesn't take offense to this, and he shouldn't. But Waylon Jennings is who the first person I thought when he came out and started singing and stuff like that. The way he acted and the way he sung the song and stuff like that. And I'll tell you something. It is, and he's right. It's hard to go to Nashville and believe that traditional country music is going to lend you a hand. It's not there yet. And anybody in the last 10 years that's tried that, is struggling and having a hard time with it. Mo Pitney, you got just an example. He's trying and he's trying and he's trying, and guess what? He's starting to do it, and I'll tell you that music is coming back.
Yep. Well, thank you, Johnny. I'll take that compliment any day.
Any day.
Now,
Waylon Jennings, Buck Owens, Merle Haggard. My hometown heroes is where it started for me, and then obviously my dad and everybody I grew up with. But, you start branching out from that, and you got Waylon and Hank and George and all Willie and Johnny and all the guys, and that's definitely the roots.
It's such a. It seems like when country artists go to Nashville and they chase that, what you say, JD, is something that they are not, and they try to be, because it's a town run with executives and songwriters with an agenda, and
that's right.
I know Barrett Baber, who's going to be joining you guys at the 805 Country Music Festival, is probably dealing with a great deal of this right now as he's trying to come off of his success with The Voice and getting, just put through the ranks. Is there a alternative capital to country music in the United States, or does everything still need to run through Nashville?
Well, I think that that also is a tricky question. However, for that genre of music, and Johnny said something that I agreed with earlier too. It's not that we don't like this new country, because I really do. I think, you hear the songs you like and you hear songs you don't like, and that's in any genre. However, it's just not what we would define as country music. But today is the day of information. You can discover artists on Facebook, on Instagram, on Snapchat, Twitter, wherever, and there are definitely other outlets that are opened up to new artists that are just being themselves, and I think that's something that social media has given back to the artist as a form of power to, be them, and courage to be themselves. And that's, like I said, when you can do that, and you can be yourself, and you can play what you play, and be the artist that you are. And obviously all artists need direction and mentoring and whatnot, but when you can develop what they naturally are, then that's where the best art's going to come from. That's where the best music, the most authentic. And to me, country music is the most authentic form of art there is. So to try to pull it off any other way is, in my opinion, it's a sin.
Now, I'm going to leave you guys with one question about the 805 Country Music Festival, and I'm going to ask you to play Vegas odds maker on this one for me, and you can work collectively on this if you'd like. How many kegs will be tapped at the 805 Country Music Festival on Sunday?
Well, I know one for sure for me and Johnny.
That's funny, and I have no comment. But hey, Jeff, I appreciate you having me on this podcast, and JD. I mean, I'm going to be over there with bells on, and the band's ready, and we're going to have some fun with this, and it's absolutely one of the biggest fundraisers that I'm going to be involved in, and I really appreciate the 805, and you guys calling me over there for this thing.
Yeah, well, I'm thankful that you accepted, Johnny, and like you said, we're going to have a great time. And I would like to say too, Jeff, that right now we're running a special on tickets. If you're buying any GA general admission tickets online right now, between now and Friday, you'll be entered into a drawing that we will pick on Saturday that will be able to upgrade you to VIP status.
Wow. Okay,
so it'll give you complete access to the show, backstage, and VIP amenities and all these great things. So if people go to Eventbrite.com and search 805 Country Music Festival, they can buy their tickets there and be entered into a drawing to be upgraded to VIP.
They got to buy them before Friday. Is there a certain time cutoff on Friday?
Yeah, we're going to cut it off at 5 o'clock on Friday, or midnight on Friday, Friday night.
Okay, so if you're listening to this podcast, if you ran across this podcast, however you ran across it, or a buddy shared it with you, make sure you buy those tickets before Friday at midnight. Don't try to buy them at the door, or you can try to buy them at the door, absolutely, right? But it's, if you want a chance to get that VIP experience, full backstage, what else comes with the VIP?
You're going to have your own. You're going to have a meal ticket. So we're going to upgrade if someone buys a GA during this time frame. We're going to upgrade 2 people for them, and they can go in and have VIP access. They'll have meal tickets. They'll have their own VIP bar. They'll have access to the meet and greet backstage, and then there's, VIP parking, and there's VIP seating as well that's preferred. So there's a lot of neat little things.
Perfect. You find out more, eventbrite.com, search 805 Country Music Festival. It's going to be a big party this Sunday. We're all looking forward to it. Thanks for joining us, guys.
That's right.
Thank you, Jeff.
Be sure to pick up those tickets before Friday if you want that chance to win that VIP package. Thanks once again to J.D. Hardy and Johnny Owens from the Buck Fever Band. It should be a good time. It goes on 1 to 7 out at Black Lake. You won't want to miss out on it.